trying to find a turkey.
Have you ever had to ask for a recording to get something straight?
No.
You're just that good.
In order of Dan, I'm gonna use my gavel. Meeting,
I'm gonna do it that gavel one.
calling the meeting to order. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here, but what can I say?
Was at Main Street having breakfast.
Augie, would you call the roll, please?
Ellis.
Here.
Farnham.
Here.
Lawton.
Here.
Luddington. Patrick.
Here.
Bruner.
There.
Voigt.
Here. Thank you. Claims against the county. We had a few questions at the study session. Are there any further questions or clarifications needed on the claims against the county? Hearing none, motion to approve the bills.
I'll motion.
Ellis moves. Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, public comment? Anybody got any public comment? Dan?
You really want that?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I make a comment before we,
Sure.
okay. Anybody get tarot paper this morning?
No.
Had an article about a guy trying to be a grumpy old man that fits me perfect.
Point well taken.
We'll make sure to read that.
Okay,
Gary, don't put that.
Dan, we appreciate you the way you are,
Okay,
okay?
thanks.
Okay, next, item 6, we've got the resolution to adopt budget and levy for fiscal year beginning December 1st, 21 and ending November 30th, 22. Any further discussion on those issues? Hearing none, a motion to approve resolution. Russ moves, Dan seconds. We'll need a roll call vote on that.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
And Bruner.
Yes.
Uh,
See you, Andy.
Andy, can you take a walk on the wild
So there,
side for a few
sure.
minutes?
Come get me this time.
Just leave you out.
We will think about it.
Okay, first item on the resolutions on alcohol is to renew license number 1 for Andrew Z. Patrick effective December 1st, 21 through November 30th, 22. Any questions or discussion? Motion to approve. Russ moves. Carl seconds. Roll call, please.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
And Bruner.
Yes.
It is approved. Next, resolution to renew alcoholic liquor winery license number 1 for Andrew Z. Patrick effective December 1st, 21 through November 30th, 22. Any further discussions or anything? Hearing none, a motion to approve. Carl moves. Russ seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
And Bruner.
Yes.
It is approved.
I'll go get him.
No, we gotta hit all
So we
licenses.
gotta do all, okay.
Yeah, he can't participate in any licenses. Okay? Thank you though for offering. Okay, next. Mark, do you need a closed session?
No, I just, there's an item I think I wanted to speak on, 13.
Okay, I'll move that up. Once we get the resolutions, we'll move that up and then you can,
Thank you.
all right? Next is resolution to renew liquor winery license number 2 for Robert E. Morgan doing business as Castlefin Winery, Vineyard and Winery effective December 1st, 21 through November 30th, 22. Any discussion? Motion, Carl moves, Dan seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
And Bruner.
Yes.
Okay, resolution, and it passes. Resolution, renew alcohol retail package license number 1 for Cashman Hammond effective December 1st, 21 through November 30th, 22. Any further discussion? Motion?
Do I know what that was
Yeah,
Okay.
All motion.
This one.
okay. Russ moves, Lisa seconds. Russ had his hand up first, Lisa, sorry.
Okay, so which order did you want that? Russ and then Lisa?
Yes, please.
Okay, got it. Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Brunner.
Yes.
Okay, the last liquor lease item is for a license number 1 for renewal of alcoholic liquor lease. License number 1 for Kaylin Puzzi and Kristen Prince, doing business as Two Poor Girls LLC, effective December 1st, 21 through November 30th, 22. Any further discussion? Motion, please. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just noticed that it says liquor lease,
Yeah, they lease
Okay, so-
their facility.
so when we passed that, it was specifically a lease.
Yeah, see, they did not
License.
own, but they had a
Right.
provable lease.
Okay,
They had to have a base of operation in
Right.
order for us to give them a license in the
Yeah.
state of Illinois.
I remember that now, but
Okay.
it just was different than all the rest of them.
Yep, it is. It's a
Okay.
separate license. Motion? Lisa and Dan? And when you're ready, Mr. Clerk.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Brunner.
And that does pass. Would you ask for Andy to come in, please? Thank you. We're gonna skip down to item 13
Now business.
in your packet. And it has to do, let's see, resolution to participate in the state's attorney appellate prosecutor program beginning December 1st, 21 and ending November 30th, 22. Mark?
Thanks. Just quickly, I wanted to update, there's because they typically run back, we always have to do the last year's stuff, prepare it. We always assume it's gonna be the same amount, so we can get it in a timely fashion for our budget year. I was occupied last week with a murder trial, kind of catching up on my mail, and either Friday or Monday, I was in the office, but we got an updated resolution, and it's $1,000 less. So, well, the resolution I submitted was for the prior years of $8,000 a year. The appellate prosecutor, for a quick explanation, does all our appellate work after convictions, and if we have conflicts, we ask them to step in, so we don't have to go and hire outside counsel. And at least, once or twice a year, they provide the legal services, so we don't have to pay other attorneys to cover stuff. Let's say, for example, if it's coming to a law enforcement officer investigation, or if there's somehow our office is conflicted out because of my connections or people's connections to someone in the office, we need conflict. Or if it's a particularly nasty case, we have a specialty. For example, I think I'm blanking on it right now, the tax case with the ambulance is being covered underneath, they say we owe them an extra year, we say we don't, what's going on. That's being covered underneath this retainer. And actually, I went to hire the people outside of that, and he said, well, if we can do this and we can do that, it probably looks like it's a contract case, which is what we would look at it, they're saying breach of contract, it's filed as that, but they're saying, well, it has to do with taxes, so if you check the appellate prosecutor, maybe look, because they also have a contract with the attorneys that we hired, had a contract with the appellate prosecutor's office, and they accepted it, so we, save money there, so. It's otherwise a good program, but I just wanted to come in and say it's $1,000 less than this resolution I've submitted, so there's an updated resolution. And this really acts as our contract with them, when it's approved by the board and signed by the chairman. Before we got to that approved, we wouldn't have spent $1,000 extra, but just to be accurate, and
Thank you, sir.
a new submission for appellate prosecutor. Thank you.
And this will anything else?
New.
Thank you for your time.
Other than thank you, I think there's been a lot of discussions about the failings of really mostly the state's attorney, but judges, the system, criminal justice, police, sheriff, the board, whatever. And I've tried, for people that would listen, I've tried to indicate, the board has certainly addressed it. And so going full-time with the public defender that was approved, as well as the assistant, more cases will get touched, visited. And I talked with the outgoing public defender saying, he's the one that chose to go down to Clark County because it's 40% of the caseload, and we're 60% of the caseload. And he's only got a couple of years left, plus he already has an office down there. I mean, it was for convenient reasons. There's pre-trial services already down there that we don't have yet, and maybe addressed in the regional area for people to be monitored, because the bond rules are changing and people are gonna, it's gonna be very difficult to come up with a bond amount unless you can prove you're a threat to themselves or others. So for a lot of the crimes, property crimes, bond is gonna be almost non-existent. But they're developing a regional program that would monitor pre-trial, so we won't be doing it locally. It'll be kind of like parole. When someone gets out of prison, they're discharged for a year or two on parole, there's a state bureaucracy that follows them by phone. And you know, anytime you have a state bureaucracy, obviously I think Edgar's gonna get less attention, just because we're in the far reaches being on the border. But they monitor people discharged from prison. They're similar to that. I don't have all the details yet, but they're developing a program that for pretrial services, people that are out on bond would not be monitored by our local probation, which is how it's been done for years in other counties, by this developed bureaucracy. And the person that's gonna do that, we've already kind of talked to, be kind of, I don't wanna say it's ankle monitor like, but it's telephone, so everybody's got cell phone access. So there's gonna be some additional monitoring of people that are out on bond. But I just think, without putting my foot in my mouth and promising what he can't deliver, to have twice as much time from the public defender to see his people, so he's not standing up here in court in front of the judge saying, did you get my letter? No, I didn't. It's like, no, nothing's gonna happen today. They'll be able to have time to meet, and have twice as much time to touch files, prepare files, tell the defendants when they say, here's my alibi, or here's what I'm looking at, to go through the stuff with them, because it just doesn't get done now, because you've got way too many files, for them to make a decision. And we're also, you know, in discussions about trying to develop another trial week, so it's 2 trials a month instead of 1, so it's twice the time for people to put up or shut up, and know they can't hide, you know, they have to make a decision or they gotta go to trial. So I think it's an indication that resources made available by the board are gonna be put into the you know, not only buildings, but now people and services to try and address backlog, as well as staying on top of cases that come up as they come up, versus getting in the back of the line, you know, 21 cases are behind 19, 18, 17 cases. So it still doesn't address, it's one courtroom, one trial, whether it's this week or next week, for you know, for example, talking to an individual who's complaining and saying, look, sexual assault of minor, murder, sexual assault of minor next month, as personal as it is to you that you're being deprived, you know, in the garage and stolen something out of the garage that we all go through. You know, we wish we could address that immediately, but we don't control what the defendant does as far as decision making. We can't get, you know, priority-wise, putting your resources there, you can't justify saying, and I'm not saying this lightly, because it troubles me, because I don't want I'm on what I call meth alley, like the old infirmary. I have people that, as I'm in the driveway shooting baskets with my daughter, saying, hey, I looked at them like, oh, that's the guy from court. I mean, so I understand that people prowl the alleys and that kind of issues, but the additional resources, you can't say a drug possession case, for example, or a stolen lawnmower or bicycle goes ahead of a murder or sexual assault case. And we unfortunately we could do a sexual assault case a month in Edgar County, so. That's just an understanding. If you hear out the community, I've tried to tell people the board has made a big decision and really forced Clark County to do the same thing. They didn't want to do it. And so they're blaming us, me in particular, for making them pay for a full-time public defender, which I think should have been done 25 years ago, but that's just my opinion. So I think steps are being made, appreciate it, and hopefully now, when I talk with Jeff, we're gonna try to figure out some way to have, we don't have time to track cases, we don't have the software, we don't have personnel that can kind of just go through files and keep track of stuff. We're trying to find a way through the circuit clerk, probation, and our office to be able to keep track, so I can come in, you know, after a year of this and say, hey, previously we would resolve, I think I indicated we had, you know, at least for the last 10 years, 4 cases a month result in prison sentences. That doesn't account for, and we file 19 a month. So, I mean, that's why there's a backup, you can't get to them. But as far as things getting filed and getting done, that doesn't count for the misdemeanors or lower cases that are local sentences, probation and jail or some combination. Hopefully we can put together some system so that in a year from now I can come back in and say, hey, with a public defender, with a full-time assistant, we've done X number of work and touches on files to justify the increase in financial support. So anyway, that's just a quick explanation. Thank you, but if you talk to people outside and they complain about nothing ever getting done, you guys have made a big step in that direction to put resources behind trying to touch more files and get more files handled before it gets to court. Because court, there's too many, and the judges want to sit there and listen to the conversation between defendant and his attorney, and then try and negotiate in front of the court with me or the assistant. So hopefully the resources are going to move more cases through the system.
So
Only one thing to add, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, we have moved, we are no longer sharing, I think, one of the better public defenders that handles conflicts. They are not gonna be working down south, they're gonna be working for our office up here, totally. So I think that's gonna also add to our, ammunition to do, that's probably not the appropriate word, but whatever, it's gonna add to our ability, I think, for the offices to run smoother, I hope.
So in January is when the public defender starts?
Yes, and I don't know where the judges are as far as informing, we do have a public defender hired, and.
We're gonna move on that today.
Yeah,
So my understanding is that it'll be January 1st or so,
right,
whatever the first
right.
day of business.
And then, as far as your full-time assistant,
He'll start in January as well. So you know, our budget year starts a month earlier, you know, he's gonna start in January, because
Okay.
he's trying to, we've tried to be, give the state attorney's office in Clark County
Yeah.
time, because it's very difficult to try to hire an attorney in a small town, unless you live or you're from there. So we tried to give him time, and so it was agreed when Mr. Gilbert talked to Kyle, he used to be assistant here, about trying to give six weeks or so is a chance to try and interview or try and find someone to do the job down there. I think their budget was in the same process as you guys are, but I think they've been approved, he's been approved to have a full-time, which makes it a little bit easier to try and recruit. We're still trying to get any small town, trying to get professionals from small towns, unless you're from there or have a reason to spouse or somebody's from there. It's very difficult to attract that kind of business in, because it's kind of shrinking. When you were here, you know, in your time, they were, God knows how many attorneys around the square, Marshall and Paris, now fraction of it.
So it's really difficult, there's not attorneys that are willing to come here, are there?
We had
I think in any professional field, but, you know, the openings or opportunities, unless they have family here, they wanna be here, for I think outside reasons, it's been difficult. But as we've looked, for example, current state's attorney in Clark County, and I don't mean to waste your time, I'm gonna get, but, he wanted to come back here, because he's from Marshall, he graduated from Marshall High School. So he was willing to come back and be my assistant part-time and try and do his own practice, because 2012, 2013, Clark County said, forget it, Edgar County, we're going our own way. We're hiring a local girl that came back, and Yargus, family down there. So he, you know, a local attorney came home, and so he wanted to have a position for a local attorney to come home. So we were lucky to find a guy who's done Carbondale practicing, who wanted to come back to Marshall area and be our assistant eventually. Both Ms. Yargus, I think, didn't, left for some reason, and then Kyle became the assistant in both counties, so it was readdressed, and then when he left, he understood the problem and the opportunity that brought him back, when we then looked for Mr. Gil, that's what led to the hire of Mr. Gilbert, who was Kyle and I trying to find someone that wanted to be here. He was again, fortunate, he was a pastor in a very small church in Ashmore, but he was an attorney down in Kentucky, so, again, he was here for another reason, and we were lucky enough, or fortunate enough, to have him here. So, again, sometimes having things not planned is the best result. But I think now it becomes, I think for certainly public defender, we now have legitimate candidates from outside the areas that would want to come here and for that job, from Champaign, from Vermillion, from Coles. So I think that now has it's up at an appropriate amount where professionals will come in, because I understand things. I'm not talking about a house or anything, but the public defender's coming in is looking to buy a house here, move here, as a young professional. So it's a way to bring in, which is a side benefit to the community, to have somebody come in that's gonna make decent money, that's gonna buy a house, hopefully the family, kind of create contributions to the community. So, and I think the same thing now is gonna happen with my assistant, Mr. Gilbert, lived in Ashmore, as part of when he bought a house here, in Edgar County, and so, again, we have his wife's got 3 kids, so we bring in, again, people from outside to kind of help bring some new blood in. It has been difficult, I think, if you talk to a hospital or a school system or anything else, it's difficult to bring people in that don't have a connection to the community. But anyway.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, sorry.
Take care. I'll talk to you. Okay, I need a motion. Are there any further questions? It is reduced to 7,000. So we're gonna be making a resolution to participate in the appellate prosecutor program starting December 1st of 21 through November 30th of 22 at a cost of $7,000. Is there a motion? Carl moves. And Andy seconds. Any further discussion? Mr. Clerk?
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
and Bruner.
Yes.
It is approved. Next, we go to the Joseph E. Myers, tax agent. We have sold, or Joseph E. Myers sold the following tracts, which will go back on to the tax rolls. And the treasurer's been directed to send out tax bills no later than the payable dates listed, and I have those. So, and they all start January 1st, payable in 22, payable in 23. So, is there a motion to approve this list? Lisa moves, Russ seconds. Do we need yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, let me.
You're fine, take your
what I
time.
need to do. Okay, Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
and Bruner.
Yes.
Okay, next is the renewal of the commercial insurance policy with Liberty for the period of December 1st through December 1st of 21 through, I guess, November 1st of 22, or December, whatever.
It'll be November.
Yeah, I would think it would be November
They,
30th.
but the way they presented it was December 1 to December 1.
Okay, well, that's fine.
I don't know why they do that. My policy on my restaurant is the same way, and I think, well, that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but that's the way they do
That's
it.
the way
Do
they
you
do it.
have the actual amount once, minus the 35, do you have that bill there? Because this looks a little, this does not have the $3,500 off of it. And I know you got some paperwork
It's
from me.
just $345,237.
Is the premium for next year.
I checked that, that is net.
Right. And of course, we'll deal with the work comp in here in a second. We talked about this on Monday. Are there any further questions about this? Do we have a motion to approve this? Dan moves, Andy seconds. Andy, do you want to say anything about this as far as prep for the future or anything?
No, I got, and I will get with you too, I got it, well, the JR called me yesterday and talked to me, and, he suggested that we maybe get on a, either monthly, quarterly, every couple months get together and figure, kind of see where we are as far as, because you need to really kind of monitor this, see where we are as far as, you know, what's going on. There's programs that certain, like the sheriff's department and other departments need to be aware of to help bring down our policy costs. And it's something, he goes, it's, in today's society, you really need to keep up on track of these kinds of things. There's too many lawyers out there, I think, that.
Well, from what I understand, maybe he said something, we can also build a file for them too. In other words, when it's a little before renewal time, you say, okay, the positive things that we've done, and those would go into them also to become part of our record,
Yeah.
so.
And he, I guess, I didn't realize that he worked for Cargill for 15 years.
And I couldn't remember,
As
I
a
knew he had
claims,
worked,
I mean, that was what he did for them, was to watch their
Right.
insurance, so. I had a really good conversation with him, I feel like we're in pretty good hands with him if we, and he's willing to help us.
Good.
Do whatever we can to keep our premiums down, so. Anyway, I told him I'd get hold of him after today, and we'll kind of set up time where we can all get together. Hopefully help you two in your business and mine in mine, understand what to look for, so.
okay.
That's that.
Do we call the roll on that?
Optional, we can.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It passes with nobody dissenting. Next item is, let's see. I gotta turn the page here. That'll be helpful. Next item is work comp related. It's for our work comp policy starting January 1, 22 and ending January 1, 23. It has gone up roughly $10,000, almost $11,000 from last year. Part of it is because of our loss ratio is, what did they say, up around 106 or?
6%,
Yeah. But
But that wasn't necessarily last year, that's just
no,
an
last
average
year was
over.
one of our better years.
Yeah.
We can have another one. One of our worst years will drop off next year. Does that make sense? So, at any rate, he shopped around. This is the best he could find. So, a motion to approve. Andy moves. Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Approved without dissent. Next is the coronavirus resolution, where we're going to pay for the AEDs out of that fund in the amount of $27,875.75. And so, any questions about that? Motion to approve the resolution. Andy moves. Dan seconds. Any further questions? Would you call the roll, please?
Ella,
Yes.
Farman.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
And Bruno.
Yes.
All right, next item is a resolution authorizing treasurer to make a payment not to exceed $150,000 to IMRF for unfunded liabilities. Don has not gotten to check that yet. I'd still like to pass this, and then we'll let you know on the 6th. Is it the 6th study session? Yeah. We'll let you know where we're at on it, okay? If you don't have a problem with that. I think it probably can be 150, and that'll knock down our liability to $20-some thousand on both those accounts, at least for the time being. You know, we can have a bad year even in retirements, okay, so. Motion to approve, oh, go ahead, Dan, I'm sorry.
This has nothing to do with the $600,000 that we got when I first got on the board.
No, that's, you
We
mean
paid
the,
that off, right?
yeah, that's all,
That's what I thought.
that was a general fund,
Okay,
shortfall of roughly 635,000.
okay, this one.
That is gone,
Okay,
okay? Motion to approve or resolution, approve the resolution, sorry. Dan moves. Andy seconds. Would you call the roll?
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
And Bruno.
Okay, next I need authorization to execute an employment contract with Nathaniel Harsey as Public Defender of Edgar County. Any questions about that? Hearing none, I need a motion. Carl moves, Andy seconds. Further discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
And Bruno.
yes.
Next, we need to reappoint the following people to the Edgar County Public Health Department Board for the terms expiring 12/3/31/24. That would be Dr. Rico and Kathy Lentz. Any discussion? Motion? Dan moves. Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Was approved by, with no dissent. Resolution approving oath and bond for Stephen Pennell, Commissioner, Union Drainage District Number 1, by the users of towns of Kansas and Ashmore, counties of Edgar and Coles, state of Illinois. Motion for the resolution. Carl moves. Russ seconds. Any discussion? Augie?
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruno.
Yes.
Okay, next is resolution to approve appointment, oath and bond for Kenneth D. Wayne McKee, Commissioner, John Mitchell, Drainage District, County of Edgar, State of Illinois. Motion? Dan moves. Carl seconds. Further discussion? Mr. Clerk?
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Bruno.
Yes.
Okay. Augie, do you have anything you would like to bring up to the board, please?
Is that a general reminder, or is this,
No, no,
I don't
I'm
think I
not
have.
looking for a lot of extra verbiage today, okay?
Okay, I'll make it very simple. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Now, I will make Don's report, and I'll make it brief. There is a change on this sheet. He forgot to include $134,681 in the court improvement fund. That's how much is in it, is $130,781. I'm sorry, $134,681, which means the subtotal of the general funds would be $3,130,781. You'll notice that there is a general fund balance at the very top of the page, which says Fund 100 of $132,000. If you'll recall earlier the month, there was a negative 132 right there. So we have gotten in, if you'll check your sheets, your budget sheets, you'll see that we've got just about everything in for the month. Sorry. Everything in for the month from the state or whatever. We still have 2 to 3 months of revenue to come in from all of the state agency funds. So you can see that on the very back page that we are, I forget how much we are, you probably can tell me faster than I can, but we are positive for the year. If you look at the very back page of that budget, you'll see that we the first column shows what we are for the month, the second column shows you what we are for the year, and then it shows you the budget. So we're in pretty good shape, and you gotta consider that, you know, obviously we have some more to pay out. Both payrolls are in there, but there's accrual payrolls that will still come out of there a few days. There are some funds like that we paid in advance, like for especially the treasurer's office for some of the financial help he gets from companies. Like there's $50,000 that's gonna come back out and be assigned to next year, but Don will do the accruals in a more timely fashion this year and into next year, so that you'll have us, you know, right after the first of the calendar year or into February, we'll be in a much better position to know exactly where we are, or even 22. Okay? If that makes sense to you? Yes, Andy?
No,
Oh, I thought you.
no.
So at any rate, I'll try to answer. Are there any questions on financial at this point? You have time to maybe take a look at the budgets in the 16-page document that you get once a month. But there is a whole lot more revenue to come in, okay?
Wow. Just looking at the sheriff's budget,
Yeah, I didn't even look at it yet. I just got this a little bit ago.
according to this,
I'll look.
570,000 over budget.
Could be. I don't know. I don't
Wow.
know.
I'm seeing something wrong here.
Let's see. No. You gotta look at the second line up. He spent 1,692,000. The negatives are positives, okay? Positives are negatives. This is counting. So he had budgeted 1,692,000 and he spent 1,632,000.
So where's the minus?
That comes from the income side. If you look back 2 pages, and you'll see where he's gotten income in equal to about 1,061,000.
Yeah,
It's accounting, I'm sorry,
I
Carl,
see.
it makes it difficult. But even at that, we have 3 more months of safety tax that will be assigned to this year. So there'll be an excess of $330,000 that has yet come in to that account.
well,
Okay? And we have another 20 or 33 or 35,000 coming in from 911. So there's a significant amount of money coming into that budget.
so,
that,
yeah, when I saw that minus, and I thought,
And we did that just to
yeah.
get you,
Yeah.
it's, you know,
So
it's,
he's 60,000 to the good. He's under budget, that's good,
yes, at this point.
right.
All right, so take a lok at that, call me with questions, I'll be happy to take the time to explain whatever it takes, yes.
And I didn't have a sheet to write down.
Okay.
The courthouse improvement fund.
Had 134,681,000 in it. And that's back up at 300, no, it's not down below the line, Carl, we moved it back to 841. Go up about, it goes into 841.
Correct.
We did not, we eliminated the 400 fund and showed it above the line. The accountant suggested that, okay? Because it is Fund 100, or I mean, it's a general fund.
So he just didn't get it on this.
He forgot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He
our
did not
actual,
forgot.
what it actually shows again is 3,130,781 is what that should be instead of 2,996,312. So we're in a better position. And then that's where we're at. Well, you know, obviously, some of the bills of the first of the month, when we meet on the 8th, will be accrued to this year. Some will be accrued to next year. So, this will change, but it's not bad, okay? All right. Any other questions on finance? And please, I'm serious, give me a call, okay? Or we can have a little sit down at the next study session and so everybody can hear the questions, whatever you want to do. All right, we have no, okay, committee reports. Anybody have a committee report they want to add on to, that we talked about on Monday?
About the voucher program, could we get that on the agenda for December to be
Absolutely.
adopted?
The voucher program will be on the agenda on the 8th.
Okay, good.
And I thought she did a good job, and you guys did too, and thank you, okay? Do you wanna talk about yesterday just in general terms, or you and I? As far as we met with the mayor and our, Massey and Massey, architects, we met with Stephanie and Freddie Beth. And we all talked about the new improvement program for the city. It would be us, and we don't have any figures yet, but it would be us, the city, and Prospect Bank being the private portion of it, applying for, and we don't know. I'm guessing maybe $2 million.
Yeah, I mean, the max that you can, any rural area, and that, I guess.
Is 3.
That Springfield's in a rural area too,
Right.
so it's anything south of Cook County, it sounds like.
Right, doesn't apply to the Cowlers and to the city of Chicago. There's $50 million, and it's gonna be highly
Very
competitive.
competitive. I mean, when you figure the max is 3 million.
Right.
So 50 million, 3 million grants don't go real far, but I mean, I'll give them credit for it. But it's basically for improvements. We're looking at courthouse grounds.
Yeah. Concrete, repairing, well, I'm sorry, we're talking about restoration
Right.
of the exterior of the courthouse and grounds. And I don't mean necessarily
Not
the
maintenance,
facade
but
or maintenance, but we have some broken stones that are, and we have other things. The sidewalk is becoming unsafe. Some of the exterior walls need to be repositioned. There's a lot of stuff there that if we all go together, we improve our shots
Yeah.
on how we could do it. We've asked Massey and Massey to work with the city planners in order to come up with,
Some grounds improvements.
right. And they already basically have, their LAs, landscape architects, and architects and engineers. So they were gonna have something to the city by midweek, I think.
Right, he said it wouldn't take, they basically got a plan that they drew out years
In
ago.
11,
11.
and I figured where I was, cause I didn't remember, they did it in January, and I was in Florida, because I'm always in Florida in January, bad me. And then they also tried to pass it on, the community
Edgar County Community Foundation.
was looking at it, and I was not there for that, so I'd never even. At any rate, I caught up, and Andy and I were there, and so we're looking forward to seeing what we can do, and we'll let you know what's going on. We also, on the building for the coroner, we've got a guy, an architect that's gonna stamp the sturdy plans, and we're gonna proceed with that. They want a third down. On Monday morning, we're gonna get them a check for 10 grand, which is a little bit more than a third of the deal, cause it's like 29,000. And then they'll get us on the docket to get it taken care of. They'll also, a couple of their crew are gonna work with our crew to do the concrete work once the building's in, okay?
Guess
It's
they're
the
not
building.
They're not gonna do the concrete first, which was the original plan. They're gonna build the building first and pour it inside. It works either way. I mean, that's the way I built my barn, so it's,
Mine too.
it's easier to pour when there's nothing around you, but
Well, but they're, you know. Anyway, so that's proceeding. We got final approval for the airport just yesterday, for the corrections on the taxiway, and everybody signed off, the FAA, not FAA, at any rate, and aeronautics and transportation have all signed off on that, so the minute we can get into the field and get it done and finally finish that contract, we'll do it.
So is the county highway still gonna do it?
They're gonna do the removal of debris. In other words, they're gonna take out all of the old fill, and our engineers are gonna be there to make sure that they shoot it and, gosh, I don't wanna touch that. At any rate, and handled it so everything's appropriate. And, that will be our share too, so it's all good. In fact, they'll actually owe us a little bit of money, because that's
And then
good.
who's gonna do the other part?
Open road, they're gonna finish it.
So we're just gonna get prepared for them and then
Right. Then
they'll
they'll
do what
go
they were
for it,
gonna do originally.
and we'll save about $100,000,
Right. Yeah.
okay? So, the main runway has been approved for the 1.5 inch, but I don't know when we're gonna bid it. It may be in January, I'm not sure. But the main runway is gonna get, the oldest runway is gonna get 1.5 inches of asphalt on it, okay? And then Plaxis, is what I think it's called, they're all gonna be renewed. The instrumentation that we do have will all be new, and that's all being paid for, so. Everything's moving along, so. Anything else we got hanging fire that we haven't discussed? Okay. Anything else to come before the meeting? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Russ moves, Andy seconds, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned, folks. Oh, here.
Only day that's on